I've got various other people waving at me, but this is a debate where I only want you to speak once, so I'm not going to take second speakers.
Point of order.
Yes?
I'd like to make a personal statement.
Well, what do you mean? You've just done that.
No, I'd like to make a personal statement in relation to something that's happened from the Chamber. I'm allowed to do that under standing orders, correct?
A personal statement. I don't think I've had a request for a personal statement so far. So we better be reminded of what a personal statement is.
She's smiling. It's a statement. It can't be interrupted.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
I want to correct something.
You want to raise something?
Correct.
I want to make a statement. A personal statement. It's understanding order,
Right,
blah,
I'm
blah,
sure.
blah.
I'm sure it is, but we're just going to do some research of that. And
it would
just
only
make
take
sure
a minute. The time you take
you
to
don't give
research
us
it, I'll
too
have
many
said
blingy
it.
surprises.
In the meantime,
You don't want to make a personal statement, do you, Councillor Lee, because you've already spoken?
no, I haven't.
You did.
I made an
You
interjection.
gave us the.
Could I make a comment, please,
No.
Mr. Mayor?
No.
Well, that's not fair.
Oh,
There's an important point to be made here.
No. Look, everyone else has abided by it.
There's
so
some
what you
remarks about other cultures and Euro cultures and all the rest of it.
Yep.
And I think members should think carefully what they're saying here.
Yep.
People of all cultures in Auckland want decent standards,
That's what she
want
said.
light,
Point of order,
want
Mr.
quality,
Chairman. Point
and
of order,
don't assume
Mr.
that they
Chairman.
don't.
Yep.
Does
That is
council?
really Euro.
Thank you. Thank you.
Does council?
Bob Semple would have been proud of you. Right, now we've got Councillor Wayne, and I'm going to come back to your personal statement, Councillor Cathy. I'm looking forward to it.
Debate if needed.
You're going to close the debate. Thank God for that. Right, Councillor Wayne.
Yes, I certainly have a concern about this. I think we know that apartment building in Auckland is not yet mature. Our body corporate standards and rules are absolutely shocking.
Nikki Kay's going to sort it out.
When you buy into apartments, you can buy into massive problems. That's occurred through the leaky building syndrome, and it's happening in a number of other areas as well. The builders aren't building really good apartments for shoeboxes. They haven't done it in the past, and certainly they haven't demonstrated that they're doing it now. So we're not ready for this, Mr. Mayor. It might be appropriate at a later point in time, but not now.
Sorry, we just carry on, Councillor Wayne.
No, he's finished. He's finished. He's finished. I didn't mean to capture
We want to hear Kathy's statement.
You were happy to zone out for a quarter of an hour, but no, he's done. He's done.
Okay, thank you.
Have we won
Councillor
the gold
Wayne,
for
it
the
was a
Olympics?
stunning submission. Thank you.
It's like the photo of
I got Councillor before this generates
thank you. I
totally,
rise
and we
to
get a
support
personal
my-
statement from Councillor Cathy. I'm really
excited.
looking forward to what that is.
Gold medal at the Olympics?
Yeah, it could be.
Certainly happy to take the call to support my good colleague and friend Councillor Wayne Walker on this. I also agree with the reinstituting of minimum sizes. I was in and around Newmarket protesting and working with Chairman Mike Lee over a better outcome in and around the Newmarket railway station. But that had already been signed off by a previous administration, and with great promises that it was going to be an exemplary development, not the station but what is around it. And I think we saw there what the outcome has been. And the institution of minimum sizes that were adopted by the Auckland City Council were in reaction to the market being increasingly appalled at what conditions some people were living in and some developers were providing. And if there's anyone here that wants exemplary examples of micro-living, micro-apartments, you don't create that by creating a as-of-right, laissez-faire, do what you want. You actually create a system of minimum sizes and a process of restricted discretionary resource consenting where there is the ability to go below the 35 square metres if you can back it up with exemplary design and outcomes that might just get you there to your micro living apartment. And as far as we need to provide crash pads, well, colleagues, 35 square metres, looking at this green area in here, would not much be bigger than that. If you're looking at 6 metres by 6 metres, 3 people by 3 people. And so that is your crash pad. And I would say that until we start building greater amenity around the CBD, with Wynyard Parks, with opening up the waterfront, and with developers building in greater amenity into their body corps and their apartment complexes, I certainly agree that we just need to take a precautionary approach here. If you opened up the newspapers 15 years ago, it was full of chicken coop stories. And that did not help anyone living in those who'd planted lots of equity into those buildings. And we're seeing them being destroyed as the public increasingly criticise them as the worst case examples of inner city living. I also note, Mr Chair, that we have got a plan here that delivers an oversupply, arguably, of 422,000 dwellings. We have got a plan here that sees a lot more fab than what we asked for. We've got a plan here that in the coming item we see the height limit of Newmarket going up to 72 metres. We've got a plan that puts mixed housing urban down the far reaches of Glendowie, for example. We will have plenty of choice with this plan for people to be able to live in high density living right across the region, not just in the CBD. And so I certainly support reinstituting minimum sizes. I think 35 metres, what we propose to in our unitary plan, is a good start, and I support your call for it to be ongoingly reviewed, as it will be.
Okay, I think we've, Councillor Ross, last say to you, and then we'll find out what this personal statement is.
Yep. Thank you. I'll be brief. Totally endorse what Councillor Walker said about the body corp rules. I mean, the government is investigating those at the moment to try and clean that up. It is a major issue and a major impediment in New Zealand to apartment living. And I also endorse the fact that the apartment market is not mature enough at the moment. We're not comfortable with it. A lot of people are not comfortable with it. And you've got to remember, this is not just downtown. In my ward, in the Faux, around New Lynn, we've got acceptance. People are saying this is not a bad way to be going. If we start putting up a couple of big 18-storey blocks there with these tiny little apartments, that's going to really turn people off. We're not going to get the acceptance that we want and the developments we want. And of course that gets down to design, because people are saying that, well, we've only got one tower there at the moment, and some people like it, some people don't, but it's got to be a certain size, it's got to look okay, and then you're going to get that acceptance. So I will be voting for the staff recommendation. I think everyone really should look at the staff point made in J3C there, where it says this will assist to maintain the social well-being of the community, support the social cohesion, and thereby support further intensification within urban environments as these areas become desirable places to live. And I think that's a really well-written statement there to endorse what we're trying to do here.
Very good. I'm going to move this by way of division, but so Councillor Cathy, she has asked under 1.4.2.
1.4.2.
Yep, it could be either A or B. Member may not speak more than once, but there is an exception to this standing order. Very poor context as to why I would grant this extension. A person can give a personal explanation with the permission of the chair. Muggins and me's going to give it because I'm fascinated by what it might be.
Careful what you wish.
I remember that's right. That's right. It's the old lawyer's joke. Don't ask the question you don't know the answer to. A member who has already spoken may make a personal explanation. A personal explanation may not be debated. This is the point. There's no context. So we definitely need to work on these blinking standing orders. Right. Personal explanation.
Mr. Chairman.
Point of order.
Yes.
I have a...
Hang on. There's a point of order.
I trust that if Councillor Casey starts to go over ground that's already been covered, or she's already covered, that you will then pull her up.
That's
This
not
is
a point of
that-
order.
No, I'm asking for a...
Are you
ruling on the
asking
point
as
of
to
order.
whether I might do that?
You can't.
Well, I'm asking,
Not allowed
Mr.
to.
Chair, to make sure that that it's strictly in...
In the bounds.
Councillor Quacks, that
within
is
the
definitely-
bounds of standing orders.
This is another one of the non,
No, this is...
points of order from Councillor Quacks. That is useful to me as this personal explanation that's about to arrive.
Chairman.
All right, order. Shh, I just want to hear this personal explanation. No more points of order. Councillor Cathy, let's have it.
I have a strong accent, and I can understand that people might misunderstand me at times, especially if there's a lot of talking in the room. So I'd just like to clear up a statement I have said in this chamber that has been tweeted out to the Twitter sphere, which says, and I quote,
Oh, no.
Shh.
Kathy Casey just said an apartment needs to be big enough to fit dogs in.
Right.
That's not what I said.
Oh,
I said
I thought you did.
I wouldn't put a dog in there. It's so small. That's quite different. So no, whoever wrote that, I'm
That's
not
not a
trying to get the
personal
dog vote. I'm trying to stop Dick Quacks from being in charge of how we design Auckland.
Ah.
It was beyond an explanation.
Well, that was definitely not a personal statement.
No, it's not.
Twitter I've got is Kathy Casey wants
Okay.
frogs.
Use of standing
But-
order, that's Mr.
I've got Kathy Casey
Order.
wants frogs on my Twitter.
No, we're going to vote now. I think we've had enough fun on this. Councillor Cathy, I actually am, so for future reference, whoever is going to sit in this chair in the years ahead, I'll write them a personal note never to allow that personal explanation again. That's a useless standing order. But thank you very much. It was quite helpful. Right, now we're going to move this one here. And this is J. And we are going to do it by way of division because it's been such an interesting discussion. And so you will vote either for or against the rejection. Right, go.
Councillors, you're voting on 6.9.1J as it is on the screen. Your worship.
Aye.
Councillor and I.
Aye.
Councillor Brewer.
Or
Councillor Casey.
I'm sorry, I don't know what we're voting for again.
Hadn't been so busy making a
We're
personal
rejecting the
statement.
minimum
maybe
size. We're rejecting the minimum size.
Let's
It's
stick to
actually
standing
fair.
orders. You can't have
Rejecting-
discussion during
excuse me?
voting.
No, if you vote for, then you vote for.
The staff recommendations to reintroduce. Thank you for.
Thank you.
Councillor Cashmore.
Yes.
Councillor Clow.
Yes.
Councillor Cooper.
Yes.
Councillor Darby.
For.
Councillor Fletcher.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Hulse. Councillor Crum.
For.
Councillor Lee.
Aye.
Councillor Penrose.
Yes.
Councillor Quacks.
No.
Councillor Stewart.
For.
Councillor Sir John Walker. Councillor Wayne Walker.
or
Councillor Watson.
Yes.
Councillor Webster.
No.
Councillor Wood.
No.
It's nice that you didn't leave.
Oh,
that on his
geez, George is the new member of the ACT
own. Very
Party.
nice.
Team George Wood is.
Oh, yeah, but he heard the word compelling.
Make a personal statement, please. I'm getting it from all directions. Did Councillor Clow make a statement before which is now being attributed to me? On Twitter.
Oh, okay.
And I'm getting all these people writing and sending me, I shouldn't have said
Singing
that.
your
I don't do
praise.
Twitter, I don't do Twitter.
Okay, right. So now we'll move on. Thank you very much for that vote. We will move on to K,
I'm glad I don't.
L. K and L.
Everyone can swing their dog.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Chair. Just at the outset,
Yeah,
I'd
the
just like to
Lisbon's more
apologise
accommodation.
in the drafting of this report, which, as you're aware, was done in a very
Everyone
tight
can
time
swing
frame.
their
There is an
dog.
error with L. It should refer to business zones, not city centre. We've sort of moved on from city centre into just the general business zone. So just a
Okay,
correction there
thank you.
for L. And also, in just reviewing the way the recommendations were crafted, it's a little bit unfortunate the way they've come through, and so I have suggested a note there be added for your consideration to really clarify exactly what staff are recommending here and what the panel recommended. So let's go straight to K is more external design standards in business zones. We had very quite detailed standards around the percentage of glazing that was required for any new building in a number of our business zones. We had other standards specifically about where front entrances should be relative to the street, prescribed as rules, and any breach of those rules would require consent. The panel has retained the intent of those rules because any new buildings in most of our business zones, apart from the industrial areas, would require a resource consent in any case. So they have moved the rules into policies and matters of discretion that the council can look at as part of a resource consent. That is why K and L are actually under the heading technical matters, because the intent is still the same. It's just a different way of achieving the same outcome.